You being a superhero is the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. Amber will forgive you. She always does.
I'm not so sure this time.
Yeah, you might be right. Now take me flying or I'm going to tell everyone you're invincible. Sorry, not sorry.
Hello and welcome to another special episode of Superhero Club, your go-to show for all comic book inspired original series on Prime Video. I'm your host Stephanie Williams. Before we get too far in, if you want more superhero content like this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Prime Video channel. Today we are highlighting William Clockwell from Invincible, a friend any superhero would be fortunate to call their bestie. First, we'll dive into some of his comic history, then we'll get into how it compares to the William Clockwell introduced in the Invincible animated series. William Clockwell is a supporting character in the Invincible comic series. He is best known for being best friends with Mark Grayson, aka Invincible. William made his debut in Invincible #1. Although he only appears on one page, he wastes no time in reminding Mark it sucks to be him because he has to work instead of being free for shenanigans. In the earlier issues of the comic series, William doesn't appear much. Still, there is enough moments to get an idea of who William is as a character in the Invincible universe. For instance, William prefers to be called by his full first name and vehemently dislikes it when people try to shorten it with nicknames like Will, Bill, or even Billy. In issue number 6, when he and Mark attend an orientation at Upstate University, William shuts down everyone who tries to call him anything but his full first name. Later in the issue, William witnesses Invincible in action while he takes on one of D.A. Sinclair's cyborgs that went on a rampage on the university's campus. Once Mark reappeared after the battle, William casually asked Mark when he was going to let him know he had gotten superpowers. William might act aloof at times, but he clearly pays attention. Being the good friend he is, William assures Mark his secret identity is safe. However, keeping that secret comes with the price of Mark flying William around. Honestly, that's not a bad deal at all given how understanding William remained even when his time hanging out with his best friend was limited due to all of Mark's responsibilities, which expanded beyond being a superhero. Mark had started dating Amber just before his epic fight with his dad, which also, of course, cut into his time to spend with William. Speaking of that fight, after Mark was severely injured, William was, of course, worried about his friend. While Mark was healing, William and Adam Eve bonded over their shared concern for Mark and, as a result, briefly had a relationship. William was not revealed to be gay until a little later in the comic series. Alright, we're going to put a pin in William's comic deep dive and move on to the version of the character we've gotten to know in the Invincible animated series. In the animated series, William has more moments to show just how unique of a character he is. William is still introduced as the best friend of Mark Grayson and his high school classmate, and just like in the comics, in the first episode, he appears to tell Mark how much better his life would be if he didn't have to work, so none of that had changed. But he also tells Mark how hot he thinks Omni-Man is.
Sure, he's hot and all. And that mustache.
Which was so real of him to mention. William displays a genuine care for his best friend's well-being throughout the series, but the first time we see it is in the first episode when he tries to stop Mark from confronting a guy named Todd, who is all up in Amber's personal space. But William knows his best friend and is there to help Mark off the ground after Todd knocks him down. William supports Mark when his dad is hospitalized after the Guardians of the Globe massacre. He even offers to make lasagna for Mark and his mom.
You want to talk? I'll listen. You and Debbie need a lasagna? I make a good one. Actually, I make a great one.
William is truly a sweetheart. William keeps it open and honest with Mark. He tries his best to help Mark out before Amber comes over to study by telling him to get his room together. William also brings him books that Amber may have read, a true wingman. In the animated series, William's queerness simply exists, and his expressions of said queerness happens as easily as breathing.
He's like, first of all, tall, amazing hair, thick as a horse's mane.
That's good?
Yes.
In episode 6, William, Mark, and Amber visit Upstate University, which just so happens to be the same school a guy named Rick Sheridan goes to, who William has been interested in romantically. Mark casually teases William about how much he would talk about Rick.
Remember Rick?
The guy you couldn't stop talking about last summer?
You make it sound like I was obsessed or something.
Which is a very cute moment between the two friends. And when they get to campus, Rick wastes no time helping Mark and Amber with their luggage once the trio arrives on campus.
Hey, nice to meet you guys. Let me grab your bags. I got my dorm room all set up for us.
Which is proof that William does have great taste in men. When D.A. Sinclair's cyborg goes on a rampage, just as it did in the comics, William has an opportunity to show he is no coward or pushover. He tries to save his man, Rick, from being harmed by throwing cans at the cyborg.
Get away from him, you bastard!
The moment is also when William puts 2 and 2 together that Mark is invincible. When Rick is abducted, William taps into his bravery again and goes looking for him after Mark refuses. He almost ends up getting turned into a cyborg like poor Rick, but Invincible is there to save his best friend and free the rest of DA's victims, and William does have an opportunity to tackle DA himself and give him a couple punches to the face because he definitely deserved it. It's not all good between William and Mark after the DA Sinclair incident. William is upset with Mark and feels that if he had helped him find Rick when he asked, maybe Rick wouldn't have been harmed. And Mark agrees, and before Mark can start beating himself up too much, William reminds him that he is still a capable hero. When Omni-Man asks, "Where's Mark, William?" William acts like he has no idea, just like a great friend should. And then, when the dust settles and the wounds heal after Omni-Man and Invincible's fight, William is there for Mark like the exceptional friend we've gotten to know. This concludes this deep dive character session of Superhero Club. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm your host, Stephanie Williams. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more episodes of Superhero Club. Remember, you can check out the first season of Invincible on Prime Video and stay tuned for season 2 coming late 2023.